Nathan, please wait! Nathan, Lily's fever is getting worse. I think we should take her to the hospital instead of getting on this flight.
For goodness sakes, Elena, it's probably just a fever. When we get home, we'll take her to the hospital.
Nathan, please, look at her. It isn't just a fever, Nathan. Her temperature is 104.
What is all this commotion?
Lily's very sick.
Children get fevers.
I don't think this is just a fever.
There you go again, turning everything into a crisis. I've always said you were never first-class material. Some women belong in first class, and some never will.
It's okay, baby. Mommy's got you.
The suitcase slammed onto the airport floor. Ow! Little Lily cried, clutching her stomach before coughing weakly against her mother's shoulder. Elena Brooks quickly lifted the rolling suitcase upright with one hand while adjusting her 5-year-old daughter in the other. Lily's forehead was burning. Every few seconds, she shivered despite the warm afternoon inside the crowded terminal. "It's okay, sweetheart," Elena whispered, kissing her daughter's damp forehead. "We're almost there." "I'm cold, Mommy." "I know, baby. Just stay with me." Passengers hurried around them, dragging luggage toward the departure gates, barely noticing the exhausted mother struggling to balance everything alone. "Nathan," Elena's voice echoed across the terminal. Her husband stopped walking but didn't turn immediately. Beside him stood Vanessa Cole, dressed in a sleek cream pantsuit and designer sunglasses despite being indoors. She folded her arms with obvious annoyance. Nathan finally looked back. "What now?" Elena hurried toward him, breathing heavily. "Lily's fever is getting worse. I think we should take her to the hospital instead of getting on this flight." Nathan sighed dramatically. "For goodness sake, Elena. It's probably just a cold." "It isn't just a cold." Her voice trembled. "She hasn't kept anything down since last night." Lily whimpered. "Daddy." Nathan barely looked at his daughter. Instead, Vanessa stepped forward. "We're going to miss boarding because of this." Elena ignored her. "Nathan, please. Feel her forehead." He didn't move. "I'm not doing this here." Margaret Carter, Nathan's mother, appeared behind them, pulling her expensive carry-on luggage. "What is all this nonsense now?" Elena forced a polite smile. "Lily's very sick." Margaret glanced at the child for barely a second. "Children get fevers. It's over 104. So?" Elena stared at her in disbelief. "So, she needs a doctor." Nathan checked his watch. "Our boarding group is already being called." Elena couldn't believe what she was hearing. "Our daughter is sick. Our vacation has been planned for months." Elena's eyes widened. "Vacation?" Nathan rubbed his forehead impatiently. "You know what I mean." "No, I don't." Vanessa cleared her throat dramatically. "If this keeps going, we're going to lose our business class seats." Elena slowly turned toward her. "I'm speaking to my husband." Vanessa smiled. "And I'm speaking to the reality that hundreds of people manage to travel with children every day." Lily suddenly vomited onto Elena's blouse. "Oh my goodness." Elena quickly reached into her handbag for tissues while trying not to drop her daughter. Nathan took one step backward to avoid getting dirty. Passengers nearby began watching. Some whispered. One elderly woman frowned. Another passenger quietly recorded the scene on her phone. Elena noticed none of it. "Nathan." She looked up desperately. "I can't carry the luggage and Lily by myself. Please help me." Nathan didn't move. Margaret rolled her eyes. "You've always been dramatic." Elena stared at her mother-in-law. "Dramatic?" "Yes." Margaret pointed toward Lily. "Children cry. She's sick. You're making a scene." Elena felt tears forming. "I just need help." Nathan let out another impatient sigh. "I'll pay for a taxi." "What?" "I said I'll send you money. You want us to stay behind? You can catch another flight tomorrow." Elena couldn't believe what she was hearing. "And you're leaving?" "I have meetings." She laughed bitterly. "Meetings?" Vanessa stepped closer to Nathan and slipped her arm through his. "They're important meetings." Elena's eyes dropped to Vanessa's hand. She had suspected for months. Now she knew. Nathan didn't even pull away. The silence between husband and wife said everything. Lily looked weakly between them. "Daddy." Nathan forced a smile that never reached his eyes. "Be good for Mommy." The little girl reached out toward him. "Daddy, don't go." His phone buzzed. He glanced at the screen. "We're boarding." Elena's voice cracked. "Nathan, she's asking for you." He looked away. "We'll talk when I get back." "No." He frowned. "What?" "We'll talk now." Passengers stopped walking. The tension was impossible to ignore. Elena adjusted Lily carefully before speaking. Look at me. Nathan reluctantly met her eyes. When did we become strangers? He remained silent. When did your daughter become an inconvenience? Vanessa scoffed loudly. Oh, please. Elena ignored her. You used to carry Lily everywhere. Nathan shrugged. People change. Those 3 words hit harder than a slap. Even Lily stopped crying for a moment. Margaret stepped forward confidently. My son has responsibilities now. Elena looked at her. He has a family. Margaret smiled coldly. My son deserves a woman who understands success. Vanessa smirked. Elena finally asked the question she had been avoiding. So she's the woman? Nathan didn't answer. He didn't need to. Vanessa answered instead. I'm the woman who believes in his future. Elena nodded slowly. I see. Margaret looked Elena up and down. You've always looked ordinary. The insult stung. Passengers exchanged uncomfortable glances. Margaret wasn't finished. My son has worked very hard to become somebody. She gestured toward Vanessa. Now he has someone who belongs beside him. Elena swallowed hard. What exactly are you saying? Margaret smiled. Some women belong in first class. She leaned closer. And some never will. Silence. Even the announcements over the loudspeakers seemed to disappear for a second. Nathan didn't defend his wife. Not one word. Lily buried her face into Elena's shoulder. I'm sleepy. Elena kissed her hair. It's okay, sweetheart. Nathan adjusted his jacket. We're leaving. Elena looked directly into his eyes. If you walk away now. He interrupted. I already have. Then he turned around. Vanessa smiled triumphantly before following him. Margaret paused beside Elena just long enough to whisper, You should know your place. Then she walked away without another glance. Elena watched all 3 disappear toward the boarding gate. Lily's tiny voice broke the silence. Mommy. Yes, baby. Did Daddy forget us? Elena couldn't answer. She simply hugged her daughter tighter as tears rolled down her face. The elderly woman who had been watching walked over quietly. My dear. Elena quickly wiped her eyes. I'm fine. No. The woman gently touched Lily's forehead. This child needs a hospital. Elena nodded. I know. Another passenger picked up Elena's fallen suitcase. Let me help you. A young airport employee hurried over. Ma'am, do you need medical assistance? Elena looked down at her trembling daughter. Yes. Within moments, airport medics arrived with a wheelchair. As they carefully checked Lily's temperature, one medic looked alarmed. We need to move now. Elena climbed into the ambulance beside her daughter. As the doors closed, she glanced through the airport windows. Nathan's plane was already taxiing toward the runway. She watched it disappear into the distance. For a long moment, she said nothing. Then she reached into her handbag. She pulled out an old brass pilot's wing badge. Its surface was worn with age, but she rubbed it gently with her thumb as though drawing strength from it. The medic noticed. Family keepsake? Elena smiled faintly. My father's. She took out her phone. There were 23 missed calls from people she had ignored over the past week. She scrolled until she found one contact. Daniel Hayes. Chairman. She pressed call. The phone rang once. Daniel answered immediately. Miss Brooks. Her voice was calm now. Calmer than it had been all day. Daniel. Yes. It's time. A brief silence followed. I understand. I've hidden long enough. You want the board assembled? Tonight. And Mr. Carter? Elena looked down at her sleeping daughter. A tear rolled silently down her cheek. No more protection. Daniel's voice became firm. As you wish. Elena ended the call. She looked out the ambulance window as the sirens echoed through the city. Without realizing it, Nathan Carter had just boarded the last flight of the life he thought he owned. Lily's tiny hand never left Elena's. Even after the doctors connected in 4 and lowered her fever, the little girl held on, as if letting go meant losing the only person she could trust. Elena sat beside the hospital bed, gently stroking her daughter's hair. You scared me today. Lily opened her sleepy eyes. I'm sorry, Mommy. No, sweetheart. Elena smiled softly. You never have to apologize for being sick. Will Daddy come? The question cut deeper than anything Nathan had said at the airport. Elena forced herself to smile. You just worry about getting better. But Daddy always says he fixes everything. Elena looked away for a second before answering. Sometimes grown-ups forget what's truly important. Lily nodded slowly before drifting back to sleep. A gentle knock interrupted the silence. Dr. Amelia Foster entered with a tablet in her hand. Mrs. Carter? Elena stood immediately. How is she? The fever is finally responding to treatment. Elena released the breath she'd been holding. Thank God. But her heart sank. But what? We caught it in time. Another few hours could have been very dangerous. Elena's knees almost gave way. She looked back at Lily. Another few hours. If they had boarded that flight. She couldn't even finish the thought. Dr. Foster gently placed a hand on her shoulder. She's safe now. Thank you. You stayed calm. Elena smiled weakly. I wasn't calm. You looked calm. I was terrified. The doctor smiled. That's usually what brave mothers look like. After the doctor left, Elena quietly cried where Lily couldn't see her. Not because Nathan had left. Not because Vanessa had smiled while doing it. Not even because Margaret had humiliated her. She cried because their daughter had almost paid the price for their selfishness. Her phone buzzed. Nathan. She stared at the screen until it stopped ringing. Seconds later, another call. Then another. Then a message. Why aren't you answering? Another. Did you make it to the hospital? Another. Answer me. Elena switched the phone face down without reading anything else. Half an hour later, Daniel Hayes walked into the room carrying a simple paper bag. He wasn't dressed like the chairman of one of the country's largest airlines. Just a navy sweater and dark trousers. To Lily, he was simply Uncle Daniel. He smiled warmly. How's my favorite little co-pilot? Lily smiled weakly. Uncle Daniel, I brought your favorite blueberry muffins. I'm not hungry. That's okay. He sat beside Elena. You look exhausted. I feel worse than I look. He nodded. I called an emergency board meeting. And everyone agreed. Elena wasn't surprised. They're ready. She looked at him carefully. Any objections? Daniel laughed quietly. After today's incident? She frowned. What do you mean? He pulled out his phone. The airport. He showed her the screen. Someone had uploaded a short video. Nathan walking away. Vanessa holding his arm. Margaret insulting Elena. Lily crying. The comments were pouring in. What kind of father leaves his sick child? That poor little girl. Who is this woman? She stayed so calm. Someone identify this family. Daniel locked his phone. The videos spreading quickly. Elena sighed. I never wanted attention. I know. I just wanted my family. Daniel remained silent. After a moment he asked, do you remember what your father used to tell us? She smiled faintly. The loudest engine isn't always the strongest one. Daniel nodded. He was right. They both looked at the brass pilot wings resting on the bedside table. Charles Brooks never went anywhere without them. The memory pulled Elena back years. She was 12 years old, sitting beside her father in a small training aircraft. Her hands barely reached the controls. Charles laughed. Nervous. A little. Good. You want me to be nervous? I want you to respect what carries people. Young Elena frowned. He tapped the dashboard. This airplane doesn't care how rich you are. She smiled. No. It only responds to discipline. He then removed the brass wings from his jacket and pinned them gently onto hers. One day, everything I've built will belong to you. She looked shocked. Me? Yes. What if people only love me because of it? Charles became unusually serious. Then never tell them. She blinked. What? Happiness is expensive when people know you're wealthy. He smiled sadly. Let them discover your heart before they discover your name. The memory faded. Daniel looked at Elena. He'd be proud of you. I don't feel strong. You don't have to. He smiled. You just have to stop protecting people who never protected you. Elena looked toward the window. For years, she had done exactly that. Every promotion Nathan received, she approved quietly. Every bonus, she signed. Every executive privilege, she allowed. Whenever senior managers questioned Nathan's mistakes, she intervened anonymously. She never wanted her husband to feel less successful because of her. She wanted him to believe he earned everything. Now she wondered if protecting him had slowly destroyed him. Meanwhile, 30,000 feet above the ground, Nathan laughed as a flight attendant poured champagne. Vanessa lifted her glass. Congratulations. For what? The promotion you're definitely getting tomorrow. Nathan grinned. I think so too. You've basically been running the executive division already. Margaret smiled proudly. I told you years ago he was destined for greatness. Vanessa leaned closer. Once you're promoted, you'll practically be running the company. Nathan smiled confidently. The owner never shows up anyway. Margaret laughed. Exactly. Vanessa asked. Does anyone even know who owns this airline anymore? Nathan shrugged. Probably some billionaire hiding on an island. The three laughed together. Nathan's phone vibrated. He glanced down. Missed call. Daniel Hayes. He frowned. That's odd. Vanessa smiled. Maybe he's calling to congratulate you early. Nathan called back. No answer. He tried again. Straight to voicemail. Margaret nudged him playfully. Stop worrying. He nodded. You're right. Still, something felt strange. Back at the hospital, Lily finally finished eating a bowl of soup. Elena smiled. That's my brave girl. Lily looked up. Mommy. Yes. Can I ask something? Of course. Are we poor? The question caught Elena off guard. What makes you ask that? Grandma said we're not like them. Elena felt her chest tighten. Lily continued innocently. She said Daddy deserves someone first class. Elena gently brushed a strand of hair from Lily's face. Listen to me. Lily nodded. There will always be people who think money decides someone's value. Does it? No. What does? Elena smiled through tears. The way you love people. The way you treat people. The promises you keep. Lily smiled. So we're rich. Elena laughed softly for the first time all day, in the ways that matter most. Daniel quietly watched from the doorway. He had known Elena since she was a teenager. She sounded exactly like her father. His phone buzzed. He stepped into the hallway before answering. Yes. The board has arrived. I'm on my way. And Miss Brooks. Daniel glanced through the hospital window. Elena was reading Lily a bedtime story. His voice softened. Tomorrow, they finally meet their owner. Back on the plane, Nathan leaned back comfortably. I can't wait for tomorrow night. Vanessa smiled. The gala. The biggest event of the year. She linked her arm through his again. And after your promotion, Nathan looked out the window confidently. Our lives are about to change forever. He had no idea. They already had. Nathan adjusted his tuxedo one final time as he stood before the ballroom mirror. This is it, he said with a grin. Vanessa stepped beside him. You deserve tonight. Margaret smiled proudly. I always knew my son would make it to the top. Nathan straightened his bow tie. After tonight, everything changes. None of them noticed Daniel Hayes watching quietly from across the lobby. Daniel looked at his watch. 6:58. Right on schedule. He spoke softly into his earpiece. She's here. The ballroom lights dimmed. Hundreds of executives, investors, pilots, government officials, and international partners slowly found their seats. Nathan smiled confidently. This is where they announced the new executive vice president. Vanessa squeezed his arm. I can't wait. The master of ceremonies walked onto the stage. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us for another year celebrating Brooks Air. Thunderous applause filled the room. A massive screen behind him showed old photographs of airplanes taking off from a tiny rural airstrip. Black and white pictures faded into color. The audience watched silently. The announcer continued. 52 years ago, one man started this airline with a leased aircraft, 6 employees, and a dream. A photo of Charles Brooks appeared. Nathan clapped politely. Everyone did. He believed success wasn't measured by the size of an airline. Another photograph appeared, but by how safely it brought families home. The audience applauded again. Daniel stepped onto the stage. His appearance surprised many people. Nathan whispered, "Why is Daniel hosting?" Vanessa shrugged. "No idea." Daniel smiled warmly. "Most of you know me as chairman." He paused. "But tonight, I'm honored to introduce someone you've waited years to meet." The room instantly became silent. Nathan leaned forward. Daniel continued. For personal reasons, the owner of Brooks Air has remained anonymous. Whispers spread across the ballroom. I've had the privilege of working beside her for almost 20 years. Nathan frowned. Her. Vanessa looked confused. I thought the owner was a man. Daniel smiled. She never wanted recognition. The screen changed. Childhood photographs appeared. A little girl wearing oversized pilot goggles. The same little girl sitting on Charles Brooks' shoulders. The audience smiled. Daniel's voice softened. She believed people should earn respect through character. Another picture appeared. Not inheritance. Nathan stared at the screen. Something about that little girl seemed strangely familiar. Daniel looked toward the entrance. Tonight, for the very first time, the spotlight shifted. The ballroom doors slowly opened. Every conversation stopped. Elegant heels echoed across the marble floor. Nathan turned. His smile disappeared. Vanessa gasped. Margaret's mouth fell open, walking calmly toward the stage, wearing a navy evening gown. with Charles Brooks' original brass pilot wings pinned to her chest. Was Elena? Nathan blinked. No. She walked with quiet confidence. No anger. No smile. Just dignity. The audience rose to their feet. One by one. Then all at once. The standing ovation lasted nearly 30 seconds. Daniel welcomed her with a respectful nod. Ladies and gentlemen. He smiled proudly. Please welcome the owner and chairwoman of Brooks Air. He paused. Miss Elena Brooks. Applause exploded through the ballroom. Nathan couldn't move. His heart pounded. This isn't possible. Vanessa whispered. You told me your wife worked from home. Nathan didn't answer. His breathing became shallow. The giant screen behind Elena displayed official documents. Charles Brooks. Founder. Estate transfer. Brooks Family Trust. Sole beneficiary. Elena Brooks. Then photographs appeared. Elena attending board meetings years earlier. Elena with international aviation leaders. Elena signing charity partnerships. Elena visiting maintenance facilities wearing a hard hat. All dated years before Nathan's first promotion. Margaret grabbed Nathan's arm. Say something. He couldn't. Every memory came crashing back. Every bonus. Every promotion. Every award. Every congratulatory email. Every opportunity. Daniel looked directly toward Nathan. Many people have asked why our owner remained anonymous. He smiled gently. Because her father taught her that genuine love and genuine respect can never be purchased. The audience applauded again. Nathan suddenly felt his phone vibrate. Then again. He looked down. Executive security access revoked. Another notification. Corporate credit card disabled. Another. Company vehicle access removed. Another. All flight privileges suspended. Then one final message. Your employment has been terminated following the conclusion of the Ethics Committee investigation regarding misconduct, abuse of authority, and violations of company policy. Please surrender all company property immediately. Nathan went pale. No. Vanessa stepped away from him. What did you do? I didn't. She looked at the screen. Then at Elena. Then back at Nathan. You told me you were about to run this company. Nathan tried reaching for her. Vanessa. She stepped back again. So you lied to me? I didn't know. You didn't know your own wife owned the airline? Several nearby executives had begun whispering. One recognized Nathan immediately. Isn't that the executive from the airport video? Another nodded. That's him. The man who abandoned his sick daughter. More people turned. Margaret noticed it too. They're looking at us. Another guest quietly said, I can't believe they treated her like that. I saw the video. Poor little girl. Margaret lowered her head. For the first time in years. She had nothing to say. Nathan finally gathered enough courage to walk toward the stage. Elena. She turned calmly. He stopped only a few feet away. I'm sorry. She looked into his eyes. For a moment. Neither of them spoke. Then Nathan whispered, I made a terrible mistake. Elena nodded. Yes. I wasn't thinking. No. I can fix this. She gave a sad smile. Can you? He reached toward her. She took one step back. You don't understand. I understand perfectly. His voice cracked. Please don't do this. She looked at him with sadness rather than anger. Yesterday our daughter asked me if her father had forgotten her. Nathan closed his eyes. Every word hurt. I couldn't answer her. The ballroom was so quiet that every sentence echoed. Elena continued softly. At the airport, your mother said I was never first-class material. Margaret covered her face. Elena looked briefly toward her before returning her attention to Nathan. She was right. Nathan looked confused. Elena smiled gently. I was never first class. A long pause filled the room. Then she delivered the words no one would forget. I own the airline. Silence. Complete silence. She didn't insult him. She didn't humiliate him. She didn't celebrate his downfall. She simply turned and thanked the guests for coming. The applause returned, louder than before. Nathan stood frozen. Vanessa quietly picked up her purse. This isn't the future I signed up for. Without another word, she walked away. Margaret reached for Nathan's arm. He pulled away. For the first time, neither of them had anyone left to blame. 3 months later, Brooks Air announced a new children's medical flight program providing free emergency transportation for critically ill children in rural communities. The program was named the Charles Brooks Wings of Hope Initiative. At its opening ceremony, Lily ran happily across the old training airfield, laughing as the wind caught her hair. She was healthy again. stronger than ever. Elena watched from nearby with a peaceful smile. "Mommy," Lily ran over. "Look," she pointed toward one of the restored vintage airplanes. "Can Grandpa's plane still fly?" Elena smiled. "Not anymore." "Why not?" "Because some things aren't meant to carry people forever." Lily tilted her head. "What are they meant to carry?" Elena reached into her handbag and removed the worn brass pilot wings. She gently pinned them onto Lily's little jacket. "They carry memories." Lily looked down proudly. "I'm like Grandpa now." Elena knelt beside her. "You are." Lily hugged her tightly. "I'll make him proud." "I know you will." Mother and daughter stood together as a small aircraft lifted gracefully into the evening sky. Elena looked upward and whispered, "Thank you, Dad." The wind carried the sound of the engines across the runway. For the first time in a very long time, she felt completely free. And if this story reminded you that true worth isn't measured by money, status, or appearances, but by how we treat the people who love us, take a moment to share your thoughts in the comments. Have you ever been underestimated because people judged you too quickly? We'd love to hear your story. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe for more powerful stories, and turn on notifications so you never miss the next unforgettable journey. Until next time, remember, character will always outlast reputation built on pride.